Shelly got to be taller than me, I guess. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Williams. I'm the Executive Director of Citizens Project, proud co-sponsor habitually of forums with the League of Women Voters. Ready? Yep. Ready to go? So we'll go ahead and get started.
All right, here we go. First candidate, Mr. Byers, is going to give a 1-minute opening statement, followed by Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ooh, that was a little loud. Bernard Byers, or BJ. Thank you for having me here. League of Women Voters, or organization I've come across since I decided to run, and it sounds like a fine organization, which I might be joining here in the near future. Born and raised, actually more raised than born here in Colorado Springs. My dad was stationed at Fort Carson. Throughout my time here in Colorado Springs, I've been a part as a board member for the Resource Exchange. I have my own nonprofit that I work with, Storm Basketball Club, working with youth in the area playing basketball. Also a volunteer at the YMCA, coaching youth basketball, and just being a professional volunteer, trying to make my city, trying to make my community a little bit better. And this is pretty much the reason why I'm running. Also the fact that, like a lot of other voters, I'm rather disenfranchised with the way that a lot of politics has been going on recently. So being a part of the solution, I feel, is better than being part of the problem. That's why I'm running, and that's why I'm here for you today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, your turn.
Good evening. I want to say thank you to all of you for hosting this event, especially the League of Women Voters. My name is Dr. Garfield Johnson. I'm a longtime area resident here in Colorado Springs. Been living here since 1993. And it's truly inspiring to see so many engaged members in the community gather together, especially for events like this. And I wanted to share a little bit about myself. Okay, I got 30 seconds. So I have significant experience working in organizational budgets and various things pertaining to military. I'm a former Olympic hopeful, military veteran, area teacher, special education, history. I work as a coach at the Olympic Training Center now, coaching kids and helping them to achieve their Olympic dreams, and also I teach full-time. I'm running because I feel as if the voices of the people are not being heard, and I want to step forward and make that happen. And I will share that tonight, how I'm going to make that happen.
Thank you both for introducing yourselves. On to the first 5 candidate questions. Each candidate was given these questions ahead of time to prepare a 1-minute answer. It'll be first 5 questions alternating. It'll go for, each person alternating going first and ending the question. So we'll start off with the first question with Mr. Johnson. What experience do you have working with organizational budgets?
Okay, I have significant experience working with organizational budgets through my role as a former military advisor to the United States Department of Defense and the U.S. State Department, where I managed a budget exceeding $250 million. This position involved overseeing a staff of 250 personnel and briefing the Chief of Staff, ensuring effective allocation and utilization of various resources. Additionally, during my time in the United States Army, I was responsible for managing over $50 million in military assets and equipment. My involvement on various school accountability and accreditation committees also lend that experience for me to also demonstrate that I have experience in the area of budgeting, and I think I will be a good candidate as the next county commissioner.
Thank you. Mr. Byers.
All right, well, in my day job, I manage a credit union, and so I've been managing in the financial institution realm for going on about 18 years now. My current role, I am a branch manager at Premier Members Credit Union based out of Castle Rock. And so account reconciliation and balancing of budgets is a daily occurrence. Not only do you have to balance, but obviously your employees have to as well. Quite frankly, if you're off 2 cents in a day, then you have about an hour to find it, right? So making sure that you're getting that done in a timely manner is very important as well. I've opened up many accounts, many multi-million-dollar accounts in a variety of different areas. I've been a manager in Denver, Castle Rock currently, Colorado Springs. I'd worked at Navy Federal Credit Union as a branch manager for about 10 years there. So I had a rather large staff there, larger than your average credit union, and we made sure that they were balancing on time. So reconciling the entire branch, making sure all of your accounts or general ledgers are done by the end of the day is very important. So this is something I do on a daily basis.
Thank you. Should we go on to question 2? Question 2 is, what activities do you support in Colorado Springs, El Paso County? And I'm going to call Dr. Johnson.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm a volunteer at various churches in my community. I'm also a volunteer at the Veterans Administration. I'm also a children's judo coach at the Olympic Training Center, and I'm a judo wrestling coach in Harrison School District 2. Organizations that I support would be the Catholic Diocese, the League of Women Voters, and the El Paso County Republican Party, including United Way. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Byers.
All right. So currently I am the excuse me, chair and head coach of my own nonprofit, Storm Basketball Club. I was coaching about 50 kids all by myself until I realized I was only one person, couldn't do it all by myself. So I'm currently down to about 10 to 12 right now, working with the high school girls mainly. I am the former chair of the Public Art Commission of the Pikes Peak Region. So we worked essentially as an advisory capacity for City Council, letting them know what type of art needs to be brought in to help beautify our land. I am former Colorado Springs Rising Professionals member. I was part of the subcommittee for the Civic Engagement Committee along with that. I'm a board member for the Resource Exchange, which you all know is a fantastic nonprofit on the north side of town. It does some fantastic things with a lot of folks that have youth that really need help. It's just a wide range of things. And so I'm really honored and really privileged to be a part of so many institutions here in Colorado Springs. That's part of the reason why I'm running today.
Thank you both. The next question that's submitted, we're going to start off with Mr. Byers and Mr. Johnson. What plans do you have to communicate with your constituents?
1 minute, perfect. All right. Well, as I already told you, I am a branch manager at a credit union, and if you don't know, we have a lot of meetings. Financial institutions, we're rather nonstop with our meetings. I really start up about 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. I believe in personal accountability. I believe that visibility is an important part of leadership. I plan on meeting with each of these areas that are within the county, monthly town halls, holding me accountable, making sure that they're getting exactly what they need out of me by me representing what their thoughts and views are in the commission. I feel I have to be a part of my community and I have to be a part of the solutions in order to help them out. I don't believe I should be hiding behind a desk. I don't like staying in desks. I don't like staying in offices. I have to be out with the people. I have to be out and about with everybody. This is something that I'm pledging to anybody who votes me in, even the people who don't vote me in. I'm telling you now, you're going to see a lot of me. I'm going to have monthly meetings, town halls. I'm going to be held accountable by my actions, and I need to do it face to face.
Dr. Johnson?
Okay, first and foremost, my vision is to build on community engagement, and that involves public safety. That involves infrastructure and economic development. It also involves education and youth programs. But most importantly, it involves inclusivity and diversity. And I want to emphasize the importance of inclusivity. Our district is diverse, and that diversity is our strength. I'm committed to creating a welcoming environment for everyone, regardless of background, identity, or circumstances. I will promote policies that celebrate our differences and ensure everyone has a seat at the table. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you both. The next question is, name your top 3 priorities for the county, state area. And it's 1 minute, and it's Dr. Johnson first.
Okay, so I have 3 priorities. The first priority is public safety and emergency services. Ensuring that safety and security of residents through effective law enforcement and fire protection and emergency response services. This includes advocating for resources, training, and for first responders. Secondly, infrastructure and economic development, which is very important at this time. Secondly, education and community engagement. Again, we get back to community engagement, fostering a strong partnership with local schools and educational institutions to enhance educational opportunities for all our residents, while promoting community engagement initiatives that encourage citizens to participation in decision-making processes and addressing local needs. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Byers.
Well, the first one that comes to mind, obviously, is working with our unhoused community. I've taken the opportunity to find a couple of local organizations in the past few months that's actually walked the streets and talked to a lot of our unhoused folks. We've been able to see exactly what they needed, what type of things they're looking for in order to make their lives better. I've actually helped a couple of these organizations clean up Dorchester Park, a couple of the other places that they're actually staying, and it's been an illuminating experience for me personally. I feel in order to help with problems, I really need to understand them. I can't understand them by reading a book. I have to go out and actually be a part of it. And it's been invaluable for me. And so one of the main things is looking at their environment and how I can help that. The second thing, obviously, because it's near and dear to my heart, is being able to increase the visibility of nonprofits within the area. I believe that government really should have a place for enhancing those. There's so many great organizations out there doing some amazing things for our community. We need to be doing a better job on the government level of enhancing those and providing support for them. The third thing is I'm being stopped.
Thank you. The next question we have to end the first 5 prepared questions, we'll start with Mr. Byers and go to Dr. Johnson. How do you plan to work with other layers of government? This question will be 1 minute.
Absolutely. So going back to what I was speaking on in regards to visibility, I believe in being very active. I believe in informing myself. I'm not going to have all the answers when I first start off with this role. It is impossible. The only way I'm going to learn is by learning from others. Setting up constant meetings, being in constant communication with these other intergovernmental agencies. It's going to be very important for the success for everybody in the community. I don't want to sit back and decide to impose my own will on the community. They should be telling me what to do. I shouldn't be telling the community what to do. That doesn't make sense. I think a lot of folks that are in government positions nowadays are too busy listening to themselves as opposed to the will of the people. So I plan to have constant meetings, constant communication with these folks so I can become more informed, so I can be a better leader. It's essential for all of our leaders to do this. We deserve better leadership.
Thank you. Dr. Johnson?
Okay, again, I want to emphasize the importance of inclusivity. Our district is diverse, and that diversity is our strength. With that said, I would like to say that the layers of government that I would like to work with, number one is the Veteran Affairs. 5.7% of the veterans who are of people who are homeless in Colorado are veterans. Our mayor, who has failed veterans, county commissioners who have failed veterans, this is important to me. Second thing, to work with city council and to work with, especially with the school boards, because this is where these individuals are decision makers when it comes down to inclusivity and diversity and addressing that. And so much of that is needed, but we need to address the issues as it pertains to our veterans. Thank you very much.
Thank you both. So something that was asked, because we, Citizens Project League, Women Voters, and all of our partners love education, so something we're going to educate everybody that's watching on is Dr. Johnson is a write-in candidate, so you won't see him on a ballot or write-in candidate in general. If it's someone that you do select, it's not one of the 2 options you pick. You would actually have to physically write that person in. So we just want everybody to know that. So if you're saying, I got my ballot or I got the sample ballot and I'm not seeing somebody's name, and there's a few write-in candidates over the course of our forums, that's kind of how that process works. So we just want to inform the community on that as well.
Well, shall we take a quick break here and talk about our sponsors, and then we can go on to our writing questions. Is that all right with you? All right. I'm going to do the best job I can here. We've got media sponsors, Studio 809 Podcasts and Longmire Sound Engineering, bringing the sound and visuals for tonight's forum. We got KOAA Channel 5, KRCC Public Radio, and the AARP chapter that I'm representing tonight. the Black and Latino Leadership Coalition, Citizens Project, Colorado Latinos Vote, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Latina Equity Foundation, NAACP, Neighbors for Education, Pikes Peak Diversity Council, Special Kids, Special Families, Together Colorado Springs Faith Table. Okay, we've got a few questions that have come from the audience and online. This one is 1 minute. Should we go with 1 minute on this? If this is a 1 minute question, guys, we'll go with Dr. Johnson first. How do you feel about how the board has handled the trailer park issue in Calhan?
Testing.
Just curious.
Okay.
You can read them.
Okay, once again, you got those Democrats over there shutting me down. I'm just joking around. I'm just having fun. you know. But anyway, how do I feel about it? I would say this much: there will be no tent city in the eastern part of Colorado. I think that it's appalling that Tiny Homes is working on sending money down here. They used Harrison School District 2 as a test. Nobody said nothing. Now they're heading toward east to build additional homes. I don't know what these homes are being built for, what the purposes are. There are all kinds of rumors of this, so I'm not going to speak to it. But I'm very uncomfortable with that because many of the people who live out in the eastern part of Colorado moved here because they want open space. They don't want a neighbor right on them. Now, that's just my position on it. So I'm sure my Democratic opponent might have a whole different perspective.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Johnson.
sorry.
Mr.
Okay.
Byers?
Perfect. All right. Well, I've actually spoken with those residents. I've actually visited them twice in the last month about this very topic. They're upset. They're disenfranchised. They feel like that the RV park is actually being pushed upon them. They don't feel like that they were a part of the process. They're angry. I thought they were going to take their anger out on me when I talked to them. Thankfully, they didn't. And this goes back to what I was alluding to before. We need to have our community a part of the decisions that are happening in the community. And this is a perfect example of them not being a part of the process. This is why they're upset. This is why they're disenfranchised. It's not just a tent city, but it's the RV park. They want even more parks, open spaces out in that area. I mean, have the county commissioners gone and talked to them? No. They're just opposed whatever they wanted on them. That's a shame. It's a shame that me, a Democrat, has to go into that area and talk to those folks and see what they actually need to get done. If I get elected, the first thing I'm doing is going out there and telling them that they are essentially the ones who got me elected and they're going to get everything that they asked for, because that's what I should do, and that's what they should be doing.
Thank you. This question will be 90 seconds, and we're going to start off with Mr. Byers. What is one ballot issue that you support, and what is one ballot issue that you're against?
All right. So I've always felt, so I'm going to answer the question kind of. I've always felt, and this is another reason why I'm running for office, that our people in power are doing too much talking, not enough listening. That they have their minds set on a certain amount of things, a certain amount of ballot initiatives, and by hook or by crook, they're going to get those done. And I find that to be the most ineffective form of leadership that I've ever seen. Like, if I realized it was this bad, I would have run for office a whole lot sooner, to be perfectly honest with you. It's up to the community to tell me what I need to do. It shouldn't be up to me to tell you what I'm going to do. And so I'm not a big fan of coming out and saying, oh, well, these are ballot initiatives and things. The people should be telling me what they want. I should be having these conversations with people. I should be out in public being a part of this. I can care less about the money. I can care less about the prestige. It's all about helping each other out. And there's not enough people who are helping each other out in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Byers. Dr. Johnson, same question. What's one ballot issue that you support, and what's one ballot issue that you oppose?
Ranked choice voting. I do not support ranked choice voting. It's a way now that you can have 15 people on the ballot, and it's just too much. It disperses. So just ranked choice voting. Secondly, one of the things I do not support ranked choice voting. The next thing is an initiative in 4A. It will help Harrison School District 2. That mill levy will help Harrison School District 2 receive the money that will help low-income families and people in that south part of the city to actually pay teachers more money, have more money for education. So 4A, I support 4A, and I'm asking you too to put the word out to support 4A because that is very much needed.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. The next question is 1 minute, and we'll start with Dr. Johnson. Could you detail the area of work that you want to focus on once elected into office?
Can I have 90 seconds for
No,
this?
you have 1 minute for this, sir.
Okay, has my time started already? Okay, all right. So the one area I want to focus on is police response time in the eastern part of Colorado. Right now, if there is a call for service, the average call is a little over 19 minutes, depending on where you're at in the county. The other thing too is, and I haven't put this forward yet, I'd like to see more. I'd like to really focus on fire mitigation. I think that we really need to address this. So one of the things that I'm working on is the development of drone fighting, firefighting drones that would be financed by FEMA, not by the taxpayers. Because why should FEMA send money to a city after it's been destroyed when we can have all of the things that we need in order to fight fires? So that's one of the things I'm looking at, is having drones to fight fires. That's another thing, and police response time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Byers?
Yeah, but going back to one of my original answers, the unhoused population obviously is something important. Looking at the ways that we can help with the mental health crisis that's going on. Helping with the unhoused, helping with mental health, a lot of that actually kind of goes together. Obviously, mental health affects all of us, right? This is something that's very important. The unhoused situation, I know our mayor is putting together a new commission that's going to be helping out with that, which is awesome. I've actually already applied to be a part of that because I'm taking it very seriously. It was an illuminating experience, like I said, walking the streets with this group and handing out bottled waters and talking to people about their lives, how they got there. I did not even want to tell that organization that I was running for county commissioner, actually. I waited a couple hours. I didn't know if they're going to treat me different, to be honest with you. I really wanted to experience it to myself, and I didn't tell anybody I was doing it, and I didn't even tell my team. Being able to talk with those folks and see what they actually need, seeing that it's more than just housing, it's more than just money, obviously. We just need to be kinder, and we need to start listening.
Thank you so much. This question we'll give a minute and 15 seconds, maybe an arbitrary time. I am at this point. We're going to start off with Mr. Byers. So water is a problem throughout the region. So how will you balance water resources with the growth that we're experiencing?
Absolutely, yeah. Water is a very important topic that a lot of people are talking about right now. We're doing a lot of talking. I don't know how well informed all of us are. I know there have been some studies that have been done. The goal is to find a collaboration, to find a happy median, to make sure, one, we're putting in the right infrastructure to make sure that we have enough water, but two, making sure that we're doing long-term studies to see just how bad or just how good or just how the situation is. And I'm not sure that that's been done. I've tried to find information on it. I'm not seeing a whole bunch. I think there has to be more studies involved to see exactly what we're dealing with, what we're up against, and what the cause and effect of all the issues are before we can decide to say, hey, this is the way that we want to attack it.
Thank you. Dr. Johnson, same question.
Okay, so when Mayor Isaac was the mayor, what he did was he went down to the New Mexico, various places on the southern border, and he bought a lot of water rights. That stopped when Lionel Rivera came in, who turned his focus to something else. Now we're in this situation. To address the water crisis is we have got to find a way to put together the budget to get water from the southern delivery system and the northern delivery system. Drilling is not going to fix this problem. The other problem too is this whole water crisis is that we are persecuting our farmers out east because now the EPA is getting directly involved and basically putting various restrictions on our farmers. So this is a very critical crisis. And I hope that we could find a solution at this time. It will require me to be sitting in the seat and to meet with the various individuals who can present a more detailed information about which direction we should go with this problem.
Thank you both. This next question, I had two questions here about the Board of Health, so I'm going to try to combine them. This is 90 seconds, and
thank you.
PJ Byers will go first. Dr. Johnson will go first. I apologize. What do you feel are the strengths and weaknesses of the Board of Health, and what data will guide you on public health issues in the future? Again, 90 seconds.
Okay, so the strength is during COVID, they were able to address local concerns immediately. If you notice, a lot of state workers, they were able to get various things delivered to, like in my case, I was doing an internship in a juvenile detention center, and we never run short of various things that we needed in that department. The other thing too is their strength is we have UC Health, we have various medical facilities that can all come together and address various issues that pertains to public health issues. Their weaknesses is the issue of mental health. There are too many veterans that are not getting the help and the service that they need. And so I think the research and the effort that needs to be put in that direction towards mental health, and I'm sure you will agree with me on that as well. I'm sure you can have a lot to say about that. This is outrageous. We go downtown, for every 5 persons we see, one of them is a former veteran. You're on the side of the street, same thing. So we need to work with the Veterans Administration in order to address the issue of mental health. And that's one of the weaknesses I see that is lacking. Mental health is going to be a big issue coming here. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Byers?
Yeah, I agree quite a bit with the doctor just said. Do my best to make it sound a little bit different because we do have some differences with it, but I completely agree with him. I mean, I started shaking my head immediately when he said the effectiveness of attacking COVID when it came out, and just the promptness of the response was something that I personally was impressed with. They got right on it, and they realized the severity of the situation, thankfully. Mental health, I've talked about it before, I'll continue to talk about it. Is something that we really need to be looking at. We really need to be looking at substance abuse issues. We need to be looking at situations with some of the after effects that these are causing with families, right? So some of the kids that I work with in my program, I personally sponsor. They do not come from the best backgrounds, honestly. Personally, I would much rather work with kids that don't come from the best background because they deserve just as much a chance as anybody else. Some of these families are affected by things like mental health, substance abuse. I have a kid on my basketball team that I keep a dresser drawer in my house for, and there have been times I've had to go get her out of an environment, and she knows she has a home with me. These things are personally affecting me, they're personally affecting others. This should be #1 priority for them because I'm seeing it on the ground right now. And the after effects of it, affecting children, affecting the other family members, it's just carrying on generation after generation. I mean, this needs to really be priority #1.
Thank you both. This question will start off with Mr. Byers and we'll go to Mr. Johnson. It'll be 1 minute. What do you have to offer that is different from your opponents? 1 minute.
All right, well, I believe that is a strength of mine that I'm not an incumbent, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't be up here running for office if I had faith in our local leadership. I can't put it any other way other than that. I'd be perfectly content. I wouldn't be up here being asked a bunch of questions that, kind of make you think. I'd be sitting at home and playing video games with my son. Unfortunately, that is not the world we live in. I am up here because I feel like we deserve better leadership. Simple as that. I would not be up here if I felt that we were getting, all of us, independent, Democrat, Republican, unaffiliated, if we were getting what we need, I would not be sitting up here. I think our local leadership needs to do better. We need to start building bridges. We need to start building each other up again instead of being divisive and separating ourselves. We should be looking at ways to combine forces to make us all better, as opposed to finding reasons to be divisive and be separate. And this doesn't build a strong community.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Would you not mind repeating that question again, please?
Yeah, what do you have to offer that is different from your opponents?
What I have to offer that is different than my opponent is my background. I grew up with my grandparents on a plantation in the Bahamas on an island called Andros. And I came here with $50 in my pocket. I lived in my car for a year and a half. I trained at the Olympic Training Center for 15 years. I served my country in the military. I came back and went back 5 times, various things that I worked on for the U.S. government. And I am a relentless person. Who would have ever thought that I was giving up after not making it onto the ballot at the Assembly? I don't give up. I'll stay in this fight. So what you will get from me is I am unrelentless. And I'm very educated. Completed 3 master's degrees while going through this journey in political science, public administration, criminal justice, and then went on to a Jesuit Catholic school to complete a doctorate in education. So this is my fight. Thank you.
Thank you both. Now, the next question is 1 minute. We're going to start with Dr. Johnson, or Mr. Johnson, I apologize.
Yes.
With expertise in budget and finance, how would you vote to utilize the county budget? 1 minute.
Your question is so general. Utilize the budget to what, Ans? It's too general.
Well,
It's
it's
not
an
his
audience.
question.
Just how would you slant it? How would you try to spend the money appropriately and efficiently?
Okay, I'm not here to win votes, so I would just say this. There are some programs that are in lower income district schools such as Elevate. There's other programs that helps initiative for lower income families. There are, and many times the current county commissioner here voted against it, and which basically penalized those kids because they have no access to that money, and that money was taken away from them because she is preaching to her audience who like this type of thing. She called it. There was a term that she used for it, but I will say this much. If there are any millionaires in this room, raise your hands. I don't think so. We are all middle, lower or middle upper class people. We always can use a hand, regardless of our race or color. And so that's what I would say, have the budget look for people who are disenfranchised.
Thank you. Mr. Byers?
Yeah, he is definitely correct. The doctor is definitely correct. That is a very, very general question. I would have to look at the budget with a very fine-tooth comb, being a credit union manager, to make sure that we are doing what we need to with those funds. With that being said, we have to figure out a way to help the cost of living, the cost of affordable housing, these type of things here in our area. It's very, very important. Again, as Doctor said, people are struggling and they're hurting right now. You know, I mean, this is just the way of the world right now. So we need to find better ways that we can help everybody out. It starts with our lower income families. I completely agree with that. Our middle class as well. I mean, they're struggling, you know. I mean, I am middle class, and there are times we're struggling. Sometimes the paycheck lasts 2 weeks. Sometimes it lasts a week and a half. We got to figure out ways to help out our folks in the community with that. So it's not just a lower income thing, but it's also a middle class as well.
Thank you. And before I ask this question, I do want to thank our online audience that is tuning in and asking questions. So one of those previous questions was, and we definitely appreciate those coming in. The next question, we'll start off with Mr. Byers and Mr. Johnson. Currently, County Commission and City Council meet at the same time day. Would you push to move that to a different time? Why or why not?
I would prefer that they would be in different times, absolutely. I prefer that it would be for different times for the standpoint that in order for the community to be fully informed on what's going on in both areas, they probably shouldn't have to pick and choose which one of the meetings to pay attention to. So I'm in favor of it. I'm not sure if the other folks and part of the commission would be, because if they were, then they probably would have changed it to begin with, but they didn't. So I'm in favor of it because I believe that the community should be as informed as possible, and that is the easiest way to do so.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, same question.
There was a question that was asked earlier, what makes me different? What do I bring to the table? I'm not bought and sold for. I'm not owned by anybody. I'm not owned by the builders, the realtors, dark money, big money. I'm owned by local people who give me $10, $15 here. So when you see I'm spending about $8,000, $9,000 on a campaign, that's all $10 and $20 donations from different people. And so as far as these meetings are concerned, they don't care about us. Most of them don't. Some of them do, but most of them don't. They're all in it for themselves. I don't care about you. They don't care about me. They can't relate to us. They get $120,000. Now it's $160,000 as a county commissioner. How many days a week do they work? 1. Come on, don't you see something's wrong with this picture? So this is why I'm running. You need somebody who's going to represent you and speak for you and stand up for what is right for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now you have a quick change of pace, guys. Take a breath. This is just a yes or no question. Okay, Mr. Johnson, you get to go first.
Is it general?
Yes or no question.
It's got to be specific, though.
It is, I promise.
All right.
The
Okay.
Tiny Home Project for District 2 is an effort to provide affordable housing to teachers. Do you support that, yes or no?
I can't comment on that. It's a conflict of interest.
Okay. Mr. Byers?
Can you repeat the question for me?
The Tiny Home Project for District 2 is an effort to provide affordable housing to teachers. Do you support that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So this question is 1 minute, and we'll start with Mr. Byers and Mr. Johnson. How can County Commission better protect El Paso County's parks and open spaces? That'll be 1 minute.
Well, they probably should look into putting more funding into those open spaces now. I grew up playing in these parks. You know, I grew up playing in Panorama Park, Guyverson, Memorial Park. I was there more times than I could count. My parents used to own a catering business here in town, Bernie's Cakes and Catering. I had it for about 25 years. So when I was 11 years old, I was working a hot dog cart, usually in one of the parks. You could see that the amount of money that was putting into them back when I was growing up, which I'm not going to tell you how old I am. You know, I'm still a little young, but you could tell it was lacking then. So what do you think about it now? I think that we need to build up the infrastructure of these parks, and then we start building some new ones around here. I'm a massive proponent of this. You don't see a lot of kids playing in parks nowadays. We're kind of afraid to let our kids out, you know, around the block. I got a 17-year-old. I'm afraid to walk around the block, right? You know, we got to figure out ways that we can get kids involved, and putting infrastructure into these public parks is paramount. Something I believe in strongly.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
We need to start with campaign finance reform. we need to start with campaign finance reform. You can dance around this all you want. You got to get the dark money out, the big money. You've got to stop various people from buying these elections, because the county commissioners are beholden not to you, they're beholden to their campaign contributors. Then we can start looking at, hey, what is this overbuilding about? Why is it that we are annexing Banning Lewis to the water system here in Colorado Springs? How did that happen? Who were the major players? Who's getting paid? And you can play with this all you want, but I'm telling you, they don't care about you. The Holly Williams of the world, the Kathy Bramas, all right, the guidance. I don't know about the other people personally. These people don't care about you. It's all about their career and their money. They want to live off you because they are not apt to do this job.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with Mr. Johnson. It's 1 minute. How do you plan to interface with the city government of Colorado Springs?
Again, that's a very general question. I mean,
Sir, I'm sorry, it's from the online folks.
yeah, but when we talk about interface, are we talking about addressing water crisis? Are we talking about crime? Are we talking about, okay, so how will I do? I will interface by meeting with the various politicians in city council. There are some there who are so far right that you can't help them. There's some who are so far left, you can't help them. Like I said, inclusivity, diversity, that's what this city is heading. And we spend a lot of time fighting people that don't look like us and making rules and using keywords like sanctuary. Really? Sanctuary? Is that how you're going to label them now? So that illegal immigration. This is not how we are all immigrants. The Native American Indians were here before us. So we have to figure out a way that we can work together, not isolate children and punish children simply because they're brown or they're from somewhere else. Or we allow people who are extremists to take over the various parties like the Republican Party now and destroy it and wreck it, and nobody is stepping forward to stop it. This is what we're dealing with. So inclusivity is what we need to work with.
Thank you. Mr. Byers?
Yeah, we definitely need to work together, and we definitely need to figure out a commonality, and this is something that I plan on doing. I understand with me coming in as a Democrat in an area that typically does not elect Democrats, and I have an uphill battle to prove people that I can work together with folks. I'll give a perfect example. My campaign manager, who's here today, Dennis, he's here to support me. I've known this man for about 20, 25 years. We agree on basically nothing when it comes to politics, and I consider him to be my brother. I knew I needed a different opinion running in a race because I needed to hear from different perspectives, because that makes me a better leader. So complaining about a person being far left, far right, I don't care. The job needs to get done. And so we're gonna have these conversations, we're gonna have a meeting of the minds, and we're gonna get things accomplished. And it doesn't matter how you look at things or how things are perceived. We need to work together to make this happen. I plan on doing it. I don't care how far left, far right, any of that stuff. The goal is to look past our differences and find a commonality.
Thank you. This question came from online, and it'll be 1 minute. We only have a few questions left before closing statements, but again, this question came from online. Colorado Springs continues to annex parts of the county, increasing infrastructure costs. Is this sustainable in the long run for Colorado or for El Paso County? Let me re-ask that because I was fumbling a little bit. So Colorado Springs continues to annex parts of the county increasing infrastructure costs. Is this sustainable in the long run for El Paso County? And we'll start with Mr. Byers.
Is it sustainable? Probably not. So what are we gonna do to make it sustainable, right? I'm a big proponent of creating attractions, getting people a reason to actually visit something. We just don't need to build up our parks, we need to find ways to make them a desirable location for others to visit, because that increases tourism, that increases lodging, that increases all these other things, right? So to make it sustainable, we have to make it self-sustainable. We have to find ways to increase the taxes, or not taxes, excuse me. We have to increase travel to these areas, and that will make them self-sufficient. So we have to be unique, and we have to be very, very pointed in how we build the infrastructure up on these parks. That will create that self-sustainability.
Would you not mind repeating that question again?
Yeah, no problem. So Colorado Springs continues to annex parts of the county, increasing infrastructure costs. Is this sustainable in the long run for El Paso County?
It's sustainable because it helps us to limp along. But in the long run, we're going to have to figure out a way to build an economy out east. Right now, the farmers, they are, the EPA is like you only can have so many livestock per acre, because the fart, when the animals takes a fart, it affects the ozone layer. That's just one example. Right now, the first thing we have to do is get rid of these corrupt politicians who are so far to the right. If this city was a Democrat, or like a Democrat stronghold, they will all be Democrats. They're only playing the game because that's what works here. But if you speak to them every now and then, they slip up. So is it sustainable in the long run? No, it's not. But if you look on the major construction that's going out there, we're creating what's called a detention pond. So individuals who have their home at the bottom will flood out. I'm talking about on Mark Sheffield, that construction is just a disaster. Just speak to any geologist.
Thank you. I believe I have the last two questions here. So the second from the last question for the evening is 1 minute. Mr. Johnson, what role should the county play in creating affordable housing?
So the first thing, first we have to define, and I hope I have 90 seconds.
No, you have 1 minute, sir.
The first thing about affordable housing is to attract companies here that they come here because they can move their company here because their employees can afford to live here. The second premise is the ability to pay and the ability to keep. And so these are the two things that needs to be in play. So we can't, to answer that question, is first of all, we need to attract more business here. That's number one. And number two, we have to get rid of these politicians who are only in it for themselves. They are a good old boys network club, and they're only there for one reason: themselves. They play musical chair. Today, somebody is county clerk and recorder. Next day, somebody's county treasurer. Next day, somebody is county commissioner. And they just play these musical chairs because they can't really do a real job. You speak to them for like 10 to 15 minutes, and you roll your head because they're idiots. They have no clue what they're talking about. Don't let them bamboozle you.
Thank you. Mr. Byers?
Repeat the question, please.
Sure. What role should the county play in creating affordable housing?
I believe that the county should look at ways for, it's an interesting question, because it feels like at times that we're a little overdeveloped in this city, right? So we need to make sure that we're doing it in a responsible way, obviously. I mean, affordable housing is extremely important. And it goes back to the cost of living that I've referred to in one of the previous questions that we had. We need to make sure just things are affordable, and one of the most important things is where we're going to live. It's essential. It's something that we should all be looking at and finding ways to help it impact our community positively. Now, it has to be done responsibly, and we want to make sure as a county that it's being done responsibly. We're not building houses for the sake of building them. We're making sure that we're going to be putting people there, that way they can thrive and flourish.
Thank you, Mr. Byers. I have the last question of the evening. All right. Okay. All right, Mr. Byers will start. It is 1 minute. If the county received new funds, what area of county services would you prioritize with the extra funds and why?
And you say how much funds did they?
No, I don't have a number here. I just have extra.
Extra. That's
1 minute.
That's either $1 million or 25 cents, right? So the very first thing, obviously, I would look at is putting infrastructure into mental health. I mean, that's such an important thing for me. That's, 3 months ago, I probably would have given you a different answer. But being able to see the firsthand, seeing able to see the impact in the community, in our area, in the surrounding areas, how all cities are being affected by this, it's something that we just can't, we can't turn our back towards. So trying to find ways that we can use those funds to help out those people who need it most, which would be my first priority.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
I'd like to give a shout out to Steve Steichler. He's a great guy, did a great job out there, the clerk of the Recorder's office, at getting me here, getting me all sorted out. Also Chuck Borman, so I used the word musical chairs, but I'm not referring to those two individuals. I have tremendous respect for Chuck Borman, Vicki Borman, who worked during the COVID, even though she put her life on the line and should have been she should have been elected for House District 15. So I send a shout out to them. With that, I just want to say that I thank you all for coming here. That question I'm not going to answer. Just thank everyone. I think I've said enough. And I want to say, if you're not getting out there and voting, and if you're not supporting initiatives that supports the southern part of this city, that's what city council should be doing, and that's what the county commissioners should be doing, you're setting yourself up for a public health crisis, because those kids will move next door to you and they will pee on your fence. So if you want to ignore them and say, we don't want immigrants living here, but they're here. There's some of the schools where it's 30 to 60% immigrants. What are you going to do? Deny them access? Thank you so much.
Thank you both. So we're going to go into our closing. That's the end of our audience-driven questions. So we'll now ask each candidate to finish with their closing statement. We're going to go in reverse order from opening statement. So we'll start with Mr. Johnson, then Mr. Byers. So 1 minute for your closing statement.
Okay. As a special education, former education teacher, now I'm a social studies teacher, and I also work with a lot of veterans. I'm going to say this. Seeing young people succeed, thrive, and you go various places. If you look at some of the kids who are have so much opportunities, but yet county commissioners use words like affirmative action. It's illegal. Sanctuary city, illegal immigration. What's wrong with these people? Get away from these code words. These are hate words. Get away from them. I'm a Republican, and I'm a conservative, but I'm a John McCain Republican. I am very honest. I don't have time for your nonsense. The best way to get this done is we have to include everybody because they're here. We can't ignore them because they're going to be a problem if we do. So let's get jobs for them. Let's provide education. That's why I'm running.
Thank you. Mr. Byers, 1 minute for your closing statement.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank everybody for coming out. It's been an awesome experience. Thank you, sir, for sitting next to me. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll talk.
I'm sure we'll meet again.
I'm sure we will as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm running because I want to make this world a better place. As simple as that. I consider myself a professional volunteer. Work with a bunch of different organizations. I want to be a part of the solution and not the problem. And I think there's a lot of problems. We need to work together. We need to find a commonality. We need to do things right by each other, and I don't see that being done. Again, I would not be running if I saw that. We need to look past our differences, and we need to find a better way, and there's a better way. I think some of us have forgot about that, but there really is, and that's why I'm running. I'm hoping to inspire others to do the same as well. I mean, whether I win or lose, I'm still going to be out there volunteering. I'm still going to be trying to help my community in a variety of different ways. I'm hoping that the county commissioners take note of that and do the same, because I don't see that. They're not representing us in the way that they should. We all deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we get a round of applause for both of our candidates that are here? So, a few reminders that Shelly didn't even ask me to do, but I'm going to do anyway. She'll buy me a coffee or something. Is first Friday, this coming Friday, we would encourage everybody to come to a Rockville Art Walk at Next Us. It's at 525 Cascade Avenue. It's from 4:30 to 9 p.m. It's a drop-in event, so don't plan on being there that entire time, because most of us may not be there the whole 4.5 hours, right? But we're inviting all the candidates to come to that. Obviously, community members to come to that. Please drop in. Ballots drop on October 11th, right? So there's a holiday, so they'll drop the Friday before the Monday they normally would drop. And we're encouraging people to make sure that you get those mailed out as quickly as possible. We've been talking with the post office, no later than the 19th, 20th, that time frame. After that, there's drop boxes. So the League of Women Voters has a voter guide, vote411.org. The League of Women Voters, pikespeak.org, and you can become a member, and students are free. Citizens Project as well has a candidate survey and a voter guide that's going out. So we encourage you to plug into those things as well. For the candidates, we'd ask that y'all stay after and take a picture together with the co-sponsors, et cetera. And again, thank you all for coming out, and have a great evening.
All right.
Can I say one more quick thing? One last quick thing. Please vote early. I was an election judge in the 2020 presidential election, and we counted over 100,000 votes from 7 o'clock to midnight. Please vote early. It's very helpful. Thank you.